Happy Sunday. How is everyone doing? Alright. Set up our space. Lucy's kind of in her spot as usual, so let's see. You're just gonna want to roll out a mat or a towel, just kind of like open up the space that you're gonna practice in. We're just going to want to get, like I said, a clear space to practice in, whether you have a yoga mat or not, just like a clean floor. And maybe a towel or a folded up blanket to sit on. If you have yoga blocks, that's cool. So, if anyone's feeling anything in particular that they want to work on today, any body parts that need specific attention, just let me know and I'll do my best to include that in today's practice. So yeah, I can't believe it's only been a week since the last time we all practiced together. I feel like so much has happened since last Sunday. I don't know if so much has happened since last Sunday. I've just been kind of sick. So it just feels like time is really weird in those periods of physical, I don't know, different state of being. Also, I watched Tenet last night and had crazy timey-wimey time travel dreams. So there's that. Yeah, I'm just like wrapping my brain around what happened. I know I'm like a year late. I'm like a year late to that whole movie and all the things it has to do with. But too much was going on last year for me to care about an action movie that came out. But I didn't realize it was Christopher Nolan, and I didn't realize it was about time travel and our like information time travel, kind of like Steins Gate, more so than Doctor Who. But anyway, loved it, and yeah, so kind of wish I watched it like when it came out in theaters, because it looked just like it would have been amazing to see in theaters. If I'd have to watch it again, I stayed up way too late last night watching videos explaining to me how the timeline works, which already is like, I guess if you need a video to explain the movie you just watched, that might mean that the movie's not as good, but I feel like it was really good. I feel like I'm surprised that so many people hated it. I'm not surprised so many people hated it, or didn't like it, or didn't get it. But as somebody who loves looking into things and then just watching a million explanation videos after the fact, Tenet is definitely my kind of movie. Anyway, So yeah, I feel like I should be more tired than I actually am right now. So just mentally I'm really awake. So physically I'll probably take it pretty easy today. Like I said, I was just kind of, I don't know if I don't want to say sick because I wasn't like, I just had a migraine for like almost 24 hours straight, and so basically it was just like laying on that couch with like all the lights off around me for a whole day. So yeah, I think I just feel really well rested from doing literally nothing yesterday. And then when I could finally open my eyes and see light, I watched that crazy movie. So anyway, I'm a little like distracted today, so meditation should be interesting, and that's exactly probably when it's best to practice it. Anyways, so we're about to get started here. What we do is practice. We'll start with a seated meditation, just grounding meditation, obviously necessary right now. And then we'll do some breath work. Good morning, hey, cool sword. Good morning, Ben. How are you? Welcome in. If there's anything that you specifically want to work on today, just drop it in the chat. And we'll go into some movement, yoga movements, yoga poses, lymphatic shaking, all that good stuff. And then with a nice long shavasana final relaxation pose, I'll play a crystal singing bowl for you. It'll just be like a final meditation. Everything that I lead you through is an invitation, so don't get too hung up on it having to look any particular way. Really just want you to feel better in your body, stepping off the mat than you did sitting down onto it. Don't need music right now. So we'll begin with the comfortable seated position. Like sitting in Sukhasana, easy sitting pose. That's just a cross-legged position. Hips up on the blanket and my feet and knees off the front. It just helps kind of tilt the hips a little bit, anterior tilt. Makes it a little easier to sit up tall. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Hands come to rest on the lap. Palms down to ground down, or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you've got a little extra to give today. Eyes can close if that's comfortable. If not, a soft gaze just beyond your legs is just fine. We'll begin with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up to the ears, and an audible sigh, shoulders drop down. And let the breath continue in and out through the nose if that's available, returning to a natural breath's pace. We'll take a moment here just to arrive. And let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. Just become present to yourself here in this moment, here in this space. Begin to allow sounds into your awareness. Not reaching out to look for the sounds, just allowing them to come to you. Letting all sounds in, all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. Just get a general sense of how the body feels in this moment. And we'll begin to scan the body from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity. Any restlessness or fidgeting. Just taking note to work into the places that call out for your attention throughout your practice here today. And we'll shift that awareness from the body, Anamaya Kosha, to the energetic level, Pranamaya Kosha. Noticing where you're at energetically right here and now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed, 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shift the attention to the breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. And shifting the awareness to the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Allow thoughts and feelings to arise freely. No need to engage or control or interact with them. Just allowing the mind to be free for the next few moments. And just notice, are you able to observe these thoughts from a distance? Or is it too tempting to get swept up in the storyline? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. We'll bring that attention back down to the breath, this time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhales, fill belly like a balloon inflating, expanding. Exhales, drop belly button in towards spine, deflating. Inhales, fill belly and ribs expand. Exhale, releases ribs and belly, deflate. Inhale, fills belly, ribs and chest, air filling all the way up to the collarbones. Exhale, releases chest, ribs, and belly. Continuing like this, filling from bottom to top on the inhalation. And releasing top to bottom on the exhalation. Still seated up tall on the spine. Here we'll add our Ujjayi pranayama on top of this 3-part breath. And it will just be a slight constriction of the throat so that you can actually hear your breath passing in and out, almost like the sound of the ocean, like you're trying to fog up a piece of glass, a window in front of your nose. Still, the breath is full and long. Release any clenching in the jaw. Allow the face to relax. When the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. And on your next exhale, no rush to get there. Release any effort from the breath, the constriction from the throat, the 3-part intentional breathing, just returning to your natural breath's pace. Just notice anything that may have shifted from the first time you checked in with your breath. Bring your hands to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, no space between the fingers and the thumbs pressed into the sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice, your reason for showing up on the mat today. The invitation is to set it in the positive and present tense as if it is already happening. So it might sound something like, I flow through life with ease and grace. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant along with me, of course. First, a cleansing breath. Allow your hands to release to your lap, chin drops towards chest. And on an inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. And left ear rolls towards left shoulder. Just allowing the head to gently roll side to side like this, beginning to open up the space. The neck. Next time the head rolls through center, bring it up to neutral and we'll roll the shoulders forward. Eyes can even still be closed for this part. So you know what you're doing. We're just opening up space in the upper back between the shoulders, rather between the shoulder blades. And roll the shoulders back, opening up the space in the chest and around the collarbones. Early in class also, we're just kind of checking in to see if anything falls out, anything pinches or is sharp, so we can move mindfully throughout the rest of practice. Come to stillness in the shoulders and begin our head rolls. So, still seated up nice and tall, chin tucks towards chest, and then as if you're reaching your nose down towards the ground, forward towards the wall in front, up towards the sky above, and back towards the wall behind. Then chin tucks back in towards chest. So making a circle with the nose, getting to the farthest edges of your range of motion. Keep the movement smooth and the breath steady. Just working on the mobility of the cervical spine, of the neck, helping to undo some of the misalignment that looking down all day can have on our spinal health. Change directions, reaching the chin up towards the sky, forward towards the wall in front, down towards the ground, and scoop the chin back in. Bring it back to center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, right arm releases down, left arm reaches over for a side bend. And inhale back up through center. Exhale over to the left. Following the breath like this, just waving side to side. Exhaling to bend. We're opening up this side body intercostal muscles, space between the ribs. And continuing to wake up the shoulders as well, really reaching the fingertips that are on the top hand in the opposite direction from that same side hip. The next time your right hand is down and left arm reaches over, you might bend in the elbow to get a deeper stretch, or even come down onto the forearm. This left hip is still glued to the ground. Here we're just gonna take some big back strokes. Just listening in on that shoulder, opening it, got some kind of crackling going on, so just noticing that, just like we notice the thoughts without necessarily needing to engage or bring a storyline or like wonder why is that happening, just remember to work into that space, change directions, moving forward. There doesn't need to be a judgment about, a good knee and a bad knee or a shoulder injury or anything like that. It's just like, oh, okay, that's going on. Maybe as I move through other poses that have to do with shoulders, I'll just be mindful that, something's going on with it. Sweep it over to the other side. One side might be different than the other. Maybe this elbow has to stay straight on this side, or maybe you can actually bring it down to the ground without lifting the right hip. Big back strokes here. One side might feel different than the other. Makes sense. Most of us are not ambidextrous, so we have a dominant hand, dominant arm that we do things with, so it makes sense that it would feel different one side to the other. Change directions. So these big sweeping motions, like dynamic stretching or movement, just helps to lubricate the joints, kind of working on our range of motion without much force. We'll bring it back up through center, just resetting, and exhale, high twist to the right. Left hand lands on the right knee, right hand lands on the ground behind the chest, opens towards the side wall. Inhale, back up through center, and exhale, twist left. Following the breath in to rise, and out to twist. Beginning to calibrate your breath, with your body's pace, so the length of your breath informs the speed of your body. The next time you twist over to the right, we'll hold it here, but not the breath. So we're holding the twist, still breathing fully here. Bring it back through center. And exhale, twist left. Hold it here, 2 deep breaths. Bring it back up through center. Bend in the elbows, hands come to ear height. Just wave out the hands. Just beginning to warm up the wrists. Palms slip down, fingers wiggle side to side. And then palms flip up towards the sky, really reaching back. Maybe you're trying to get your fingernails to touch your forearm, fingers spread wide. So this might feel a bit fatiguing for the forearms, that just means you're doing it right. It kind of undoes all the gripping we do with our hands of like steering wheels or, you know, pencils or just like repetitive movements. We'll shake off water, nice and gentle. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Just placing the blanket or whatever you're sitting on off to the side. Let's extend the legs out in front and wake up the lower body. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out your ankles. Both directions. I always feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit when I stream. It's like the most talking I do all week, I feel like. Alright, bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide, like mat's distance apart. And we'll just drop the knees side to side. So just waking the hips up nice and gently here. And the next time the knees fall over to the right, we'll bring the hands to frame the right foot, or the right knee, and come into our tabletop pose. Hands come below shoulders, knees below hips. On an inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for cow pose. Exhaling, round in the spine, chin tucks in towards chest for cat pose. Pressing the ground away. Following the breath in for cow and out for cat pose. If possible, we're continuing the breath just in and out through the nose. So this is going to slow down your movements. That's just fine. And the next time you exhale through cat pose, release to neutral, tabletop. We'll send the right leg up and back behind you. You can flex in the heel, so it's like you're pressing your foot up against the wall behind you for support. And then the left arm swoops forward, extended tabletop. So I'm reaching in opposite directions, really reaching forward with my left fingertips and pressing back through the right heel. Mindful not to dip in your lower back. Keeping a nice, long, straight line, like the tabletop. Got one more deep breath here, using your core, so we're pulling the belly button in, up to stabilize. And then releasing the left hand down to the mat, bend that elbow coming down to the forearm, bend in the right knee, and we'll just draw circles with the right knee. Continuing to open up the hips, each directions. And releasing that knee down to the mat, press back onto neutral tabletop.
Left leg reaches up and back behind you. Flex through that foot. The toes are facing the ground, right? They're pointing towards the ground. Right hand sweeps forward, just like you're gonna shake someone's hand. Fingertips really reaching forward. Left heel really pressing back. So I'm trying to elongate or make even like almost like get taller, right? Once again, mindful we're not dipping in the lower back. Zip the belly button in. Press through the heel. Mindful not to sink into the left shoulder. There's a lot going on in this seemingly simple pose. And of course, all the while, we're breathing fully, an extended tabletop pose. More deep breath here. Then we'll lower the right hand to the mat, lower the right forearm to the mat, so elbow to wrist is on the ground. Bend in the left knee and begin to draw circles with this knee. So a little bit of relief from all that tension and strength building. Now we're just a little free movement. Change directions if you haven't already. And releasing that knee to the mat, pressing back onto both hands. Toes tucked under, and we'll send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So this first downward dog of class, likely of the day, it is for me. So we'll bend in one knee and then the other, alternating, straightening out the legs to wake up the backs of the legs. You can drop both heels to one side and then the other. Side body stretch. And we'll find our distance here. So the closer your feet are to your hands, the deeper the stretch in the backs of the legs. The farther your feet are from your hands, the deeper the stretch in the shoulders. Just want to find that in between where it feels right for you. Heels are pressing down towards the ground. It doesn't matter if they touch or not, that's just the direction. And hips are pressed up and back like they're going to touch where the back wall meets the sky. Let the head be heavy. Mindful that the shoulders are, that the chest is pressing down towards the ground too instead of pressing forward. And we'll send the right leg up and back behind you, almost like that extended tabletop pose. Then bend in the knee and stack the right hip over the left hip. No need to bend in this left elbow. I know it's very tempting. Just keep it nice and strong and long. Three-legged dog. Deep breath in here, bringing the heel towards the glute, knee towards the sky. And exhale, tiger's pose. Knee comes in towards, nose rounding in the spine like cat pose. Come onto the left tip toes, shoulders come up over the wrists. The right foot steps up between the hands. So, we'll gently release the left knee down to the mat, untuck the toes, the top of the foot is pressing strong into the ground, and bring the arms up overhead. So knees over ankle, 90 degrees, arms can come up for Anjali asana. If you're feeling unstable here, you can bring the hand onto the top of the thigh, really pressing this shoelace part of the left foot into the ground for stability. So we can send the hips up and back a bit, and then forward and down just to work into that front left thigh. Okay, last time here, we'll tuck the left toes under. Quite right. There we go. So here we are with the left toes tucked under. Press the heel back to straighten out the leg, and we're coming up to a high lunge. So still the right knee is over the right ankle. Now we're really pulling the left hip back, the right hip back and the left hip forward Squaring the hips to the short end of the mat. Deep breath in here. And exhale as a high twist to the right. Right hand sweeps down and back behind you. Left arm sweeps forward. Inhale, back up through center. And exhale, high twist. Same side. Twisting towards that right side. Back up through center. Last time, twist right. Back through center. Then we're gonna hinge from the hips. Pressing into the front leg, left leg floats up. Warrior 3. Making the letter T with the body. Knee comes in towards chest. Head comes up. Float the foot down. Alright, there's a little balance challenge I didn't warn you about, but how'd it go? Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Alright, feet can be hips distance apart. Arms sweep up overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Exhale, forward fold. Little bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. And exhale, forward fold. Here we are, Uttanasana. You allow the head to be heavy, giving a little nod yes, a little shake no. We're fully breathing here. Just let the weight of your head and shoulders really help elongate the spine here. So we're using gravity and the breath to deepen the fold. If you're feeling yourself stuck up here, there's no worries. There's no goal of touching the toes with your hands or anything like that. The goal is just to get into the deepest forward fold that you can get into without straining. Alright, let's inhale back up to a halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Right foot takes a giant step back. Left foot takes a giant step back. We're just going to go straight into downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide, head heavy, heels are pressed down towards the ground regardless of if they touch or not. And then the left leg sweeps up and back behind you, just like that extended tabletop pose we practiced earlier. Now we'll bend in the knee and stack the left hip open over the right hip, three-legged dog. So we're pressing the heel in towards the glute and lifting the knee up towards the sky. Both arms are strong, no bend in the elbows. Deep breath in. And exhale, tiger's pose, rounding in the spine. Knee comes in towards nose. Lift up onto the right tiptoes. Shoulders come up over the wrists. And left foot steps up between the hands. Gently release the left knee down to the mat. Hi, Styles. How are you? Welcome in. Top of the foot presses down into the ground. Left knee over left ankle. And we'll bring it up to our low lunge on Jani Asana. Remember, the hand can be on the knee for stability, especially right here in the beginning. We're really pressing that back foot into the ground, nice and strong to help stabilize the posture. That's good to hear. Thanks, Steph. Okay. So here, let's work into the front right thigh a bit by pressing the hips up and back, releasing some of the pressure in the right thigh, and then pressing the hips down and forward. So up and back to release, down and forward to deepen the stretch. And holding in that deep stretch position. The arms can be up overhead. Even just the arms up overhead is going to bring more weight into the hips and more depth into the stretch. That's a deep breath in here. And exhale, you can release the hands down to frame the front foot. And the toes tuck under. Pressing that heel back will straighten out the right leg. And then sweep the arms back up over the hips for our high lunge. So the left hip's pulling back, the right hip's pressing forward. We're squaring the hips towards the short end of the mat. Deep breath in here. And exhale, high twist to the left. Left arm sweeps back behind you, right arm sweeping forward. Inhale, back up through center. Same side, twist left. So we're exhaling, like bringing out a sponge, twisting. Inhaling back through center to reset. Exhale, twist. Inhale, back through center. And then we're gonna lean forward, almost like you're reaching forward. We're gonna bring all the weight into that front leg and press into our warrior three. It's like you're making the letter T with your body. And then bend in the knee, bringing it in towards the chest. Shoulders come up, upright. And float the foot down. How'd that go? Deep breath in here. Oh, you can just call me Sam still. Okay. So inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And on the exhale, we're folding once more. So here you can even bend in the knees as much as you need so that your hamstrings can be stretching without completely screaming at you. We don't want to strain anything. We're going to come to stand on the hands. So bringing the palms underneath the soles of my feet. Toes are pressing into the wrists. So you can start here with the knees bent, right? It's a bit of a balance challenge as well, so there's no need to rush. And then we're working towards straightening the legs. That's going to give a nice stretch in the shoulders as well. So our inhales, it's like a halfway lift. I'm going to bring my chest up to really give the shoulders a stretch here. Since my hands are pinned down by me. On the exhale, I bend in the elbows, pulling my chest towards shins. Inhale is a halfway lift motion. And exhale is a bend in the elbows, a forward fold. Got two more like this. And we're releasing one hand at a time. We'll heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat so that the big toes come off the side of the mat and the heels are still on. The feet are at a 45-degree angle and bend deep in the knees for our deep squats. We worked on this last week as well. I'm just going to turn so you can actually see what the pose is. So knees are deeply bent, hips are heavy, heart is light. And I'm working towards pressing my elbows to the inside of the knees. And then as I bring my hands down to heart center, the knees open up. So if your heels don't touch the ground, you can always bring that blanket or towel that we had folded up before underneath the heels so you can have some contact. Like the heels pressing back. Sometimes when your heels don't reach the ground yet, it can feel like you're just like falling forward, so we want to have that lean back. And then the next thing that often happens is we're leaning forward with the chest, but actually we want to bring the chest up over the hips, almost like your back is up against a wall. Your shoulders would hit the wall behind you at the same time as your hips. That can be a little difficult just freestanding, so we press the elbows into the knees. Malasana, deep squat. The tension between the knees and the elbows helps hold us in this position. So, we got a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, center. And exhale, left. center. And we'll release the hands onto the mat. Extend the legs back to that forward fold, and we'll step it straight back to our downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide, hips are light, pressing up and back behind you. And you know what? Let's actually bring it to our high lunge. So it's like a push-up position. Just release that's hard. Yeah, the deep squat. Deep squats really can be really challenging. But you work on it. We'll work on it a little bit each week. It's really good for your hips, and it's like the opposite of sitting in a chair all day. So we release our knees down to the mat, then we're just gonna release chin and chest. So you just always want to listen to your knees over my voice. So when like your thighs or your abs or like your arms are shaking, then you can probably keep pushing. But if your knees or your shoulder or like any joint, your ankle or your neck is telling you to pay attention, 100% pay attention to that over me. Especially since I can't see you guys, so I don't want you hurting yourselves. So, okay, here we are. So we're laying flat on your belly. Mouth, chin, and forehead come centered. Hands come down by your sides. So your pinkies are touching the sides of your legs. Palms are face down. Big toes come to touch or close to it. Tops of the feet press into the ground so hard that the knees lift. And we'll squeeze in the glutes, pressing the hips into the ground. And inhale, lift chest and shoulders. Next, arms come up. From here, maybe the legs come up. So the feet will come up so much so that even your thighs come up. Shoulder blades are squeezed together, glutes are squeezed tight. Kyle Parker, namaste, my friend. Welcome in. Happy Sunday. So here we are in Shalambhasana, or a variation of locust pose anyway. We don't want to necessarily have the head looking up. The neck is just fine. We stretched it out earlier. So we really just want to be focusing on strengthening the backside body here by squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the glutes and the backs of the legs. And once again, we're going for length. So my heart is reaching towards the wall in front. My toes are reaching towards the wall behind. Got one more deep breath here. You can do it. And then releasing legs, arms, chest. One cheek can come down to the ground, bend in the knees, and let your feet just swing side to side. Namaste, I trust the divine timing of the universe. I have boundless energy and an endless flow of creativity. I love it, Kyle. You always have such great intentions, poetry to share with us. I love it. Okay. So you're going to release the feet onto the ground. Let's work a bit on opening the chest here. So this is going to be one of those movements that you're listening to your shoulders over my voice. So the arms are going to come out like the letter T. Then bring the left hand in front of the chest. Bend in the left knee. And I'm going to roll back to bring this foot onto the ground. So I'm just going to show you from the other side so you can see that I'm bringing the hand in front of the chest, bending in the knee, and then rolling back. So you should feel a deep stretch in that bottom shoulder or chest. Breathing fully here. If you've still got space, you're like, okay, yeah, I feel a stretch, or you don't feel a stretch yet, you can bring your left hand back behind you. I've seen people who can like hold their hands here, and that's great. I'm not there, and once again, it's like, there's not like an end shape or result that's the goal. Like there's no like physical shape that's the goal in the postures. It's just to open up the chest and the shoulders. So each pose has a purpose, but there's no end shape. Because there's always more. No matter how far you get in yoga, there's always a pose after. here. Then I'm going to bring the hand back in front of the chest if you moved it. Knee comes down, rolling forward. Okay. Now with the hands out like the letter T, we'll bring the right hand underneath the chest, bend in the right knee, and roll over, rolling to the right. So you get a nice deep stretch in the left shoulder and chest. One side might be different than the other. Maybe this side you don't want to bring your left arm back. Just kind of exploring the options. And we'll bring the hand back down in front of the body. Bring the hips back down. All right, hands come underneath the shoulders. Let's press the hips up and back for child's pose. So big toes come to touch, knees spread out to the edges of the mat, or just come out nice and wide. Hips press down towards the heels, the arms reaching forward. So that should feel like a different stretch on the shoulders and chest with the arms reaching forward. Forehead can come down to the mat. Give yourself a little forehead massage, we'll rock side to side. Deep breath in through the nose. An audible sigh out the mouth. One more deep breath like that. Hands press into the mat. Bring it back to tabletop. Toes tuck under. Hips press up high for downward facing dog. Thank you, Kyle. That's really nice of you to say. So here we are. Heels pressing down towards the ground. Hips are pressing up and back behind you. Fingers are spread wide. Head is light. Chest is heavy. Right leg sweeps up and back behind you. Bend in the knee. Heel comes down towards glute stacking. Right hip over left hip. So we've been here before. Three-legged dog. Deep breath in here. Might feel a little different now that the chest and shoulders are so warmed up. On the exhale, the knee comes in with as much control as if we were going to go into tiger's pose, but instead we're going to release the knee behind the right hand. So right knee touches right hand. Then cross the foot towards the left side of the mat. It doesn't touch, maybe for you it does, but that's just the direction it's heading. Left foot reaches back, back, back. So I release the left knee to the mat, and then I let that leg go back, back, back as far as it'll go. Point the toes, making sure it's not sickling in. So I'm just keeping it a straight line back behind me. So both my hips are pressing down towards the ground as close as they can, and they're square to the short end of the mat. So it's like I'm trying to press the front of my left hip to the ground at the same time that the back of my right hip is pressing towards the ground. I'm on tented fingertips. On the inhale, shoulder blades squeeze together, almost like cow pose. Arching my back, so proud pigeon pose. Back bend. And exhale, I wave forward. Belly, chest, head. Inhale rolls you back up. Exhale is a wave down. One more wave up. We'll meet here in this proud pigeon pose. So, option here, so you can hold it here. Option here is to tuck the left toes under. Just see if you've got a little space to begin bending in the left knee. This is going to be like really opening for this front thigh. The right hand can come down onto the mat. Maybe the left hand reaches back for the top of the foot. So option here is to bring the heel in towards the glute. nice and slow, no rush. The goal, once again, isn't to touch the heel to the glute. It's just to get a stretch in that front left quad. So that might be here, that might be here. Really, there's an infinite number of ways it might be. So don't get too hung up, like I said, on the shape, and instead just focus on finding a stretch in the left thigh. Got one deep breath here. And we'll gently release the foot back down. Back to that proud pigeon pose with the chest facing the short end of the mat. And when we wave down this time, belly, chest, head, allow yourself to land. So head comes down to land on stacked fists, hands, the ground, a yoga block, whatever it might be. And now we're working on just releasing the right hip. Heavy exhales, just an opportunity to release some tension. Eyes can close here, really just tuning into your body. Seeing if there's anything you're resisting that you can just release. We just got one more deep breath here. Hands press into the mat. Bring it back up, right. Left toes tuck under. Twist that leg back to tabletop pose. See. Love it. Fingers spread wide. Toes tuck under and hips press up and back behind you for your downward facing dog. So you might notice one side feels really different than the other here. A little bilateral comparison now that we did so much on one leg. Let's even it out. Left leg sweeps up and back behind you. Bend in the knee. Stack left hip over right hip. Heel coming in towards the glute. Three-legged dog. Deep breath in here, really reaching up through the knee. And then exhale. With control, the knee comes in and lands behind the left hand. My body's healed, restored, and filled with energy. I love it. Okay. We'll cross the foot towards the right side of the mat and just bring the left foot comes towards the right side of the mat. There we go. And then the left foot is reaching back, 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 bringing the hips down close to the ground. So I'm working towards squaring the hips here. Point the back toes. Press into the shoelace part of the foot. Just hard enough to lift the knee a little bit, just so that it just like places my leg a little bit more comfortably. So as the front of my right hip is pressing towards the ground, so is the back of my left hip. Hips are staying square to the short end of the mat. Come on to tented fingertips with the hands on the ground. Shoulder blades squeeze together, back bending to the deepest of my ability without gripping anything. I'm just really tilting my chest up, squeezing my glutes to hold the position in my hips. Deep breath in. And exhale, wave down. Belly, chest, head. I'm looking for length here. Inhale, rolls you back up. Exhale is a wave down. One more wave like that. Next time, wave up, we'll hold it here, and the breathing continues. So the option here is to tuck the right toes under, and then just begin to play with bending in that knee. Left hand can come onto the ground to support. Maybe the right hand reaches back for the top of the foot. got that grip, you've got the space, you might pull the heel in towards the glute. So we're looking for a stretch in the front right quad, that front right thigh. So wherever that might be, it's just right. There's no like particular shape we're going for. One side might be different than the other. Just making these observations without judgment. We'll gently release that. Foot back down to the ground. Inhaling for that proud pigeon pose. On the exhale, this is our final wave. Down, belly, chest, head. Coming down to land on stacked fists, hands or the ground. For your Ekapada Konasana, your folded pigeon pose. Now just working towards allowing the body to relax and kind of melt into the ground. So every exhale is an opportunity to let some tension go. Just releasing what no longer serves you. A lot of poses are about putting in effort. This one, the effort's kind of in the release. Last deep breath here. And we'll press our hands underneath the shoulders. Bring yourselves back upright. Right toes tuck under. Back to tabletop. Toes tuck under, hips press up high for a downward facing dog. And we'll just tiptoe the hands back. Bring it all the way up to stand. Lost the dog. So here we're just going to shake it out. So just releasing all of that, just shaking out the legs. We're going to shake to the whole body for our lymphatic shake part of class. Lifting and dropping the shoulders, the arms shake out. So we're lifting and dropping the heels to create this shake in the body. So lymphatic shaking is helps us relieve tension in the body, and it also helps us drain out the lymphatic system, which is reliant on movement for proper functioning. I'm just shaking off whatever built up throughout class. So I was also thinking about, like, if you watch like Animal Planet and how animals will process trauma, like shaking is a part of it. So anytime a gazelle almost gets eaten by a lion or a rabbit, gets swept down, a hawk sweeps down on them but misses, right? The animal, the prey animal, ends up shaking it off. Like literally trembling and then just moving on with its life. Just like when we're little kids, we shake when we're afraid. And then we teach ourselves to stop. Stop acting like prey. Probably as a defense mechanism to make us less likely to be the victims of predatory behavior, right? And yeah, we also, with that, kind of lose a potentially really valuable strategy to processing stress and trauma. So we've just got another 30 seconds or so of this shaking. So you're just letting your body shake here and wobble. There's no wrong answers. I know I say that throughout class a lot, but then I talk about alignment and like knee over ankle and all of that jazz, just because I want to keep your body safe. But here, really, like, there's absolutely no way to mess this up. You just want to relinquish control. Just let the body shake. For another 3, 2, 1. Alright, just take a moment here in stillness. Feel that tingling energy, that prana that just kind of built up. Fingertips, maybe feel it in your face. We'll come into our breath of joy. It's a 4-part breath exercise. It's all about kind of letting go. So it looks like this. It's 3 sips of air in. Inhaling, the arms will sweep forward. Inhaling, arms sweep out. Inhale, arms sweep forward. And a big ha, arms throw back. So it's like a third in, a third, a third. So at the top of that third inhale, your lungs are completely full. And a big ha, exhaling out. So let the knees be a little bent, like shoulder distance apart. Inhale. And we got about 10 rounds of this. In, ha, in, ha, in, ha, in, ha, 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 ha. 3 left if you haven't joined in yet. Now's your chance. Ha. Ha. Last one. Ha. Ha. One hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Allow your eyes to close. Just take a moment here to arrive and observe what was created through that practice. Maybe some added heat, increased heart rate. What else shows up for you? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. And gently blink the eyes open. You can grab a sip of water. Or towel off any sweat that may have built up. So if you're already on the mat, just stay there, we'll meet you. Now you can come down with me, we'll just meet at the back of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, hands on shins. And exhale, bend the knees deep, 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 so deep. We come down to seated. Feet come to touch, knees split out to the sides. You might use your hands to just massage the bottom of the feet a little bit. Give your hips a moment to just relax open. In this Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Baddha Konasana. Alright, so grabbing onto the ankles here for a little bit of leverage. We come up nice and tall. So I'm just pulling on my legs for that resistance to help me get nice tall spine. Deep breath in, and exhale, we wave forward. Belly, head, chest. Option here by gripping onto the ankles, you can press the elbows into the knees to help open the hips even more. They're quite warmed up from our practice here today. Or the The arms can reach out in front, just allowing the top half of the body to drape over the legs. So really, whichever variation you prefer today, one's not more advanced than the other. It's just whether you want to work on opening the hips more or give the back a stretch more in this moment. Got one more breath wherever you're at. And bring it back up to seated. Knees come together. Just shift it forward a bit. Hands come behind the knees. Seated up nice and tall, belly pressed up against the thighs. We'll tilt it back for our Urdhva Navasana, upward facing boat pose. Just lifting the feet off the mat, bringing the shins more or less parallel to the ground. Deep breath in here. And exhale, maybe the hands release out by the sides. Deep breath in here. Exhale, extending the legs a bit out. So I'm just opening up this angle just a bit. The inhales hold me in place. Exhale, extending the legs a bit more. Inhale to hold. Exhale, extend. Inhale to hold. And exhale all the way, release down. Full body stretch, hands and feet reaching for all four corners of the mat. Nice. So let's just bring got a raid. Hi yoga, thank you. Hello, welcome in. I'm gonna take the right knee in towards the body, just avoiding the belly. We'll just bring it out to the side and in. Hands come to interlace below this right knee. Welcome in, how are you? How's your stream? I'm gonna flex the left foot, and I'm just using bicep strength to pull this knee in towards the shoulder. Or wind relieving pose. Just breathing fully here, shoulders are relaxed onto the mat. And left hand stays on that knee. Right arm opens up like the letter T. I'm going to cross this knee over the body so that the right knee is twisted over to the left. I'm stacking right hip over left hip. I'm not yanking with this left hand or anything like that. Just the weight of the hand is enough. Thank you for asking. We did a very comfy and cozy 60-minute yin yoga class today. Ooh, that sounds great. How am I? Pretty good. Yeah, we're just winding down now. It was probably good energy shift from yin to the end of class here. Bring the knee back through center. Release the leg down the length of the mat. And then avoiding the belly, left knee pulls in towards left shoulder. Interlacing the fingers below the knee, pulling that knee in towards the shoulder, flexing through the right foot for wind relieving pose on the other side. So yeah, pretty, what's it called? Class has gone pretty well this morning, I think. I was gonna do more of a gentle class, but we ended up doing some more challenging poses. I didn't really have anything planned because I feel like I should have less energy than I do today, but I guess that's a good thing, right? Alright, we're gonna keep the right hand on the left knee, left arm opens up like the letter T, and cross the left leg over the body, stacking left hip over right hip, using the left hand just as a weight on the leg. I'm not pulling or yanking or anything like that. This pose is very passive. Supta Matsyendrasana, supine spinal twist. So really the magic in this pose is just in gravity and the breath. Bring that leg back in towards center, extending the leg down the length of the mat. Then both knees pull in towards the body. You can reach around for opposite elbows. Give yourself a bit of a hug here. So both knees are pulling in towards the chest now. Up and asana. Give yourself a last squeeze in. And then just notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or pose that your body's asking for? And allow yourself to roll through those movements now. So all class we tell our body what to do, and now we just ask back, is there anything left? Is there anything we can do back? Often we ask our body questions, it will not answer in words, but instead just like feelings or instincts. So just want to roll with it. Kind of let yourself explore here. And as you wind down, completing any last sequences or stretches or wiggles that your body is called for, find your way into your Shavasana, final relaxation pose. The legs down the length of the mat, feet land at least a foot apart. Legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the sides. Shoulders tucked under to support the chest. The arms release down by the sides. Palms face up, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. Eyes can close if that's comfortable. Or soft gaze towards the ceiling is just fine. If you know laying like this brings pain to your lower back, then you can just bend in the knees, bringing the feet to the outer edges of the mat, knock the knees together, lift and tuck the hips, gently placing the hips back down for broken bridge pose. Alternately, if you've been practicing seated up, and that's your preference, that's just fine. We're just preparing here. We're getting into position for Shavasana, final relaxation pose, that corpse pose. So allowing yourself to sit heavy and rest. Begin with 3 cleansing breaths, just like we started class. In through the nose, and an audible sigh out the mouth. Allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose, if that's available. Invite space between top and bottom teeth. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth as the jaw hangs heavy. Nose and nostrils relax, gently allowing air to pass through, like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets, eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as all the muscles in the forehead relax. upper arms and elbows, forearms and wrists, palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, whole hands alive with vibration, whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Relax, supported by the ground below. Belly and chest naturally rise and fall with the breath. Pelvis, glutes, and hips relax. Thighs and knees melt away. Shins, calves, and ankles rest. The soles of the feet, tops, and all the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Notice if in your mind, if even for just a moment, that inner conversation quieted. Notice if in your breath there's ease. Notice if in your body the places of tension have found space. Places of restlessness have found peace. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Gently invite your inhalations to deepen as fingers begin awareness lifts to the surface as head gently rocks side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. Let your knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. You can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Fully released and fully supported by the ground below you. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or take a moment to set an intention now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a series of hip opening postures, really a full body practice today. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to the community that held this space. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who joined me today. I hope you found something that serves you. I hope this is a positive addition to your weekend. Now you have a really great rest of your day. Namaste, Ben. Thank you. All right. Okay, so that was a little bit more intense, I think, than I was planning, but yeah, I think it's kind of nice. Now we're just meeting once a week, just kind of like roll through it, and just see how we're feeling in the moment. Let's see. I think we rated Jackie last time. We could go say, I have a friend, my friend Ra. Everybody who's on right now, everybody that I follow that's on right now is like, they're all like bodybuilder type people, which is fine. Love them to death. But I was thinking, I miss our Tai Chi friend who would come on, because I always felt like that was like a nice, I don't know, continuation. Plus I liked doing her actual classes. Let's go see our friend Andrew. He's playing Apex. It's kind of intense. Maybe let's just not raid anybody today. Let's just call it. Alright. Well, I hope that you have a really great day, Ben, and hi Yoga, and Kyle, Parker, and everyone else who's here. And yeah, much love from me to you, and I will see you next Sunday. So